My name is Jennifer Moury, and this is my third literature critique video. For my featured text, I chose Johnny Tremain by Esther Forbes. It is a historical fiction chapter book that won the 1944 Newbery Medal. I chose this text because not only is it an excellent piece of historically accurate fiction, but it is also very interesting to young readers. The protagonist of this story is Johnny Tremain, a young boy growing up in Boston, Massachusetts at the beginning of the Revolutionary War. It follows Johnny as he encounters historical events leading up to the Revolutionary War and meets real-life historical figures. Johnny experiences danger, injury, hardships, friendships, new revelations, and finally the war itself. My first lesson is for an 8th grade social studies class. It aligns with the Ohio Common Core State Standard. In this lesson, the students will have read Johnny Tremain on their own. The teacher will then assign each student a character from the book. They will create Twitter accounts, and for the next 2 weeks, use their Twitters to roleplay as their characters. Students will share videos, images, quotes, and ideas that are historically accurate and add to their knowledge of the Revolutionary War period. Students will comment on each other's posts while continuing to roleplay. My second lesson is for a 6th grade technology class. It aligns with the Ohio Common Core State Standard. In this lesson, students will read Johnny Tremain on their own. Students will be paired up and then use tourbuilder.withgoogle.com to create timeline maps of important events of the Revolutionary War period. Students will include dates, images, and YouTube videos on each location. Students will collaborate with their partners to choose which events they think are important to include. After completing their maps, each pair will be grouped with 2 other pairs. The groups will then share their own maps, comparing them and discussing why they chose to include certain events. Here is my artifact of a tour that I made with the link. Here are 5 more images from my tour. Cathedral by David Macaulay brings the reader through the interesting process of how a cathedral is built. It starts with the decision to build a new cathedral, all the way to the first ringing of the steeple bells nearly 100 years later. It was named a 1974 Caldecott Honor Book. Wolfe in the Snow by Matthew Cordell is a wordless picture book that follows a wolf pup that gets left behind and a little child who sets out to bring it back to its pack. The book won the 2018 Caldecott Medal. Dog Loves Books by Louise Yates is the story of a little dog who decides to open a bookstore. When nobody comes to his store at first, Dog starts reading his books and soon becomes lost in new worlds. Eventually, customers start to come into his store and he is able to pick the perfect book for each of them. It won the 2010 Roald Dahl Funny Prize. You Read to Me, I'll Read to You, Very Short Stories to Read by Mary Ann Hoberman is a collection of poems about boys, girls, and lots of fun animals. It was named a 2002 Notable Children's Book. No David by David Shannon is the story of a little boy who is constantly getting into trouble and told no. At the end of the book, David is told yes about one very important thing. He is loved. It was named a 1999 Caldecott Honor Book. The Wall, Growing Up Behind the Iron Curtain, is the story of an unnamed boy who grew up in Europe in the events leading up to the Cold War. It shares a child's perspective as he keeps his spirits up with music and art, both of which are banned. It was named a 2008 Caldecott Honor Book. My final book, The Day the Crayons Quit by Drew Daywalt, tells the story of Duncan. One day, when Duncan wants to color, he finds notes from each of his personified crayons who are fed up with being overused or underused. Duncan has no choice but to use all of his crayons equally, and he creates his most impressive piece of art yet. It won the 2014 E.B. White Read Aloud Award. Thank you for listening.